Hey guys, in today's session we will understand how to transform the data in MuleSoft with transform message connector. Also we will understand how to extract the data from an input payload with DataWeave expressions in the same connector. So let's get into the demo. I'm in my Anypoint Studio. I'll create a project by clicking on File, New, Mule Project. I'll give my new project name as demo hyphen transform hyphen data. Click on Finish. Alright, my project is created now. I'll build my flow over here. So let's drag the listener and configure listener. As usual, click on place. The base path I want to give it as /API so that my API will listen on port 8081 with the base path /API, and the followed by another path is transform. Okay, so if I hit my API with the path /API /transform on port 8081, then this listener will be invoked. It will execute the remaining flow. So let's slave. Oh, okay, my changes have been saved. Now let me drag HTTP connector. This HTTP connector is used to make HTTP calls to the APIs. So for this demonstration, I'm going to make an HTTP call to a public API which returns the JSON data, and that JSON data we can use it to transform or extract the specific data that we want from that JSON output. So let me open Google. I'll search for APIs for testing. Okay, ready to use. Yeah, let's check this one. Yeah, I have an API over here. So let me hit this one. Okay, it is returning the JSON data. So let's take this API. It works on HTTPS protocol. So let's configure our HTTP protocol, HTTP connector. Now click on place. Okay, my API works on HTTPS, so I'll convert it to HTTPS, and the host I will provide it as, I'll remove this path /object. I'll only provide my DNS. Okay, this is my the base endpoint, and since it is HTTPS, it works on port 443. And if our API require any kind of TLS configuration, we can provide here, or if it needs any authorization like username and password from basic authentication or other type of authentication, we can even configure. Since it is a public API, it does not need any authentication, so I'm leaving everything as is for now. And in some cases, if you want to configure retry mechanism for this API call, we can check this box, and there will be two types: reconnection strategy, standard and forever. Standard means we can define the number of times that we want to retry with the interval of milliseconds that we want. Forever means continuously keep on retrying until it gets succeeded, but it is not recommended approach for all API calls. So I'll put it as standard, two times with 2000 milliseconds interval for each call. Click on OK. Now the path I want to give it as /objects. So /objects, and it is get call. Okay. Now if our API want require any headers, query params or URI params or any input body, we can define over here. Since our API does not need any input data, I'm not declaring anything. But in our real time, if our API requires any input data or params or headers, we can define from here. That is how it works. Now I'm saving it. Save. Okay. So what it does, it will make an API call to that public API and get the result. Now we want to transform the data to another format. So for that, I will drag a transform message connector, and for now let's print payload as it is. So I'll remove this JSON structure and put it only payload. Okay. So let me add a breakpoint here so that the execution will be stopped here, and from there we can proceed step by step. So I'll run it in debug mode for better logs. So it will change the perspective. Okay, it is giving a pop-up. I'll click on yes so that the perspective will be changed. Okay, from here I can see the debug logs. as soon as I hit my API call. If you see, the API has been deployed now. Okay, I'll go to my Postman. I'll create API call HTTP, sorry, HTTP localhost. The port is 8081 followed by slash APIs followed by slash transform. Okay, it is a GET request. Simply send. It will keep on in the like sending state until the API call completed. So the reason why it is taking more time is because I have added a breakpoint here and the execution has come here and stopped here. So if you see, this is the request which has got the input data method get request, and if we are passing any headers or query params everything, we can see it in the request body. Okay, now it is making a request to that public API. I'll click on next. The execution will come to transform message. If you see, uh, this step has been completed and it has returned, the API call returned the input data. If you see the payload, this is what we got as an output. So I'll copy here, otherwise I'll directly switch to Chrome and show you. See, Google Pixel 6, iPhone 12 mini. So all this data we got, Google Pixel 6 and iPhone 12 mini. Okay, so from this JSON data, we want to extract the IDs. How we can do? We can simply use DataWeave expression on the fly by clicking on here and, for example, payload. From payload, we want to extract ID. ID. So evaluate, it will print all my IDs. So that is how we can extract the specific data that we want. So this is mostly useful during our flow development to test something on the fly. For example, name. I'll give it as name. See, it is returning everything. And click on escape button. Okay. So this is done and click on this next button so that flow will be completed. Okay, if you come to the Postman, it is returning some output which we are unable to understand now. So if you go to the Mule connector, I'll stop the application. I'll change the perspective again. Okay, click on window, perspective, Mule design. It will come back to the normal state. Okay, double click on it. If you see, the output is Java, but if I want to convert it to JSON, I can convert it, right? Save it and again run it in debug mode. Let's see how it returns. Okay, let's change the perspective so that we can see the debug logs in the Mule debugger. Okay, the application is deployed now. I'll go back to my Postman, hit the same request again. The request has come here. Click on next, click on next. Okay, the execution is completed. If you come back here, see, the data has been transformed to the JSON format. Similarly, if we keep the transform message as CSV, the data will be converted to CSV if there are no unexpected data discrepancies in the input data. Or if we want to convert it to XML, we can even keep it to XML. So that is how we convert. Now, let me stop this project. Let's try to read some data from the API request and convert the data to other format. I'll change the perspective again to our actual Mule design. I'll remove this one, delete this also, let's delete. Okay, I'll not be making an API call to public API. I'll directly drag transform message. Okay, and I'll keep it to XML or JSON first. Now, I want to return the payload in the JSON format. Though I'll pass JSON input, let's convert it to JSON itself and return. Now, if I come here, I will pass my input I is JSON. Um, for example, key 1, value 1, comma, key 2, value 2, again, key 3, value 3. So this is my perfect JSON format that we want to pass. I will run the application. First of all, run. I'm not running in debug mode because we don't want to evaluate anything for now. So let's see the result in API call itself. So application is deployed. Click on send button. As you can see, it has returned my JSON output. Whatever I pass, it is returning. Now let's convert it to CSV format. Come here, make it to CSV and save it. Oh, okay, click on save all and watch the console. It should make the changes. The application should be started again automatically. Okay, starting app, that's done. Go back to my Postman, send it. There you go. It is returning CSV format. So that is how you can convert the input data to the other formats. Apart from this, we can also do some kind of data transformations using this DataWeave expressions in Playground as well. So we have official documentation for DataWeave Playground. You can come here and play whatever you want. Say for example, my input data is message hello world. If I'm printing message, it is printing hello world. Um, for example, my input data format is this one, right? I'll come here and delete this one. If I'm printing payload, it is returning the JSON. If I keep it as CSV, it will return in CSV format, the comma separated values. So that is how we can make use of this DataWeave playground, which is available publicly to uh, experiment on or to do some kind of validations on the DataWeave expressions or for the data transformations. That's all for this demo. Thanks for watching.